Welcome to Game of the Day, where I randomize a date and play a game that came out on that same day. Today we're starting with 1985 for the year and October 24th for the date. While there is no game on that date, it landed right between three other games, with Gunsmoke releasing on the 22nd, while Xanadu and World Soccer released on the 26th. The wheel must have been in a Western mood though, because in the end, Gunsmoke came out on top. Now in this series, I've been pretty good at playing the proper version of games, especially older ones that came out on like 50 different consoles, but today that streak ended as I record the NES version of Gunsmoke for 7 hours before realizing that I actually wanted to play the 1985 one that came out in arcades. After an hour of crying though, I booted up the arcade version and it greeted me with an old-fashioned lineup of wanted posters, followed by my first bounty mission in taking down Master Winchester. The gameplay immediately throws you into the deep end, as it's essentially a top-down bullet hell where you fire fast but enemies come even faster. You have full control of your movement up, down, left, and right, along with being able to fire to your left, right, and center, which felt great, but there are some situations where it still wasn't enough. Usually in games you would have enemies come from the top of your screen, but in this one they went a step further, spawning them to your sides and below you, which definitely upped the difficulty a bit. As I was used to the slower pace from the NES version, I struggled early playing the arcade one, but once I remembered that being aggressive was key, things got easier from there. While going after enemies was a priority, there were also barrels you could go for that had a ton of different power-ups, like a horse that acted as a shield, boots to make you run faster, rifles to extend your range, and some other stuff as well. The enemies had a bunch of variety too, like being single fire, rapid fire, jumping, dynamite throwing, and even a bull, but that doesn't even begin to cover the bosses that appear at the end of each level. I only went up against 3 of them, as that's as much as my blood pressure could take, but the major difference between bosses and regular enemies was the frames that they had. There were no solo boss fights either, so the screen just turned into you doing everything you could to attack and dodge a ton of enemies, all while trying to focus on the boss. The game itself wasn't bad, but it makes it abundantly clear that back in the day it was meant to be a coin guzzler, so the difficulty was cranked up to force you to spend a bunch of money trying to play through it. I will give it credit for at least giving you checkpoints on each level, but that only meant but so much with the 3 lives you were given. Although I did prefer the NES version more, this one was serviceable too for the most part. Outside of it kinda felt like it wanted you to play a certain way with no room for improv, as enemy patterns didn't have that much variety, and enemies behind you being unreachable was pretty annoying. So after a good old fashioned western showdown, I'd have to give this game a breeze burning, panhandling bag of nails out of 10. Make sure to follow and leave a comment what you would rate this game alongside other games you hope to see in the future on the series, and I'll see you guys in the next one.